Kind old lady shelters. 15 bikers in a snowstorm. Next morning, 100 bikes lined up outside her home. It was supposed to be just another Tuesday night for 78-year-old Margaret Maggie Holloway. She lived alone in a small, weathered farmhouse tucked between rolling hills and pine forests in rural Vermont. No neighbors within half a mile, just her cat, Whiskers, her rocking chair, and the quiet hum of an old wood stove. Maggie had raised 3 children here, buried her husband 30 years ago, and every winter she'd light a candle in the window just in case anyone needed warmth on a cold night. She never expected someone to knock. A motorcycle sputters to a stop outside her gate. Rain-slicked leather jackets, frost clinging to helmets, 15 riders soaked to the bone, shivering violently. One man, tall with a beard and a scar across his eyebrow, steps forward, hesitant. "Biker, ma'am, we're sorry to bother you. We got caught in the storm. Our GPS failed. Roads are closed. We've been riding for 6 hours. Some of us were not gonna make it if we don't get out of this cold." Maggie opens the door slowly. Her eyes soften. She doesn't ask questions, doesn't hesitate. "Maggie, time, warmths look like you've been through hell. Come in, before you freeze to death." The door swings wide. The camera follows as 15 men, tattooed, pierced, leather-clad, hardened by the open road, step into the cozy warmth of Maggie's kitchen. Steam rises from their clothes. Their boots leave wet prints on the wooden floor. They were bikers, outlaws, rebels, men who didn't trust institutions, didn't knock on doors, didn't ask for help. But Maggie didn't see rebels. She saw sons, grandsons, boys who'd lost their way and found themselves in a snowstorm. Inside, Maggie moves like a woman possessed by compassion. She throws more logs on the fire, turns up the heat, pulls out blankets from the linen closet. Boots are removed, jackets draped over chairs. She brings out mugs of hot cocoa, real cocoa, with whipped cream and homemade cinnamon rolls she baked the day before. "Maggie, no one eats cold in my house. Not on my watch." One biker, barely 20, sits curled up on the couch, trembling. Maggie kneels beside him, wraps a blanket around his shoulders, and gently rubs his back. He doesn't speak, but tears fall silently onto his gloves. They told her stories over the next few hours, about losing jobs, losing families, losing hope, about how the road had become their only home, about how no one ever offered them a hot meal, or a dry bed, or kindness without judgment. One man, named Rico, had been homeless for 7 years. He'd ridden across 47 states. He'd slept under bridges, been chased off property, called names, told to go back where you came from. "I didn't know people like you still existed," he whispered. Maggie smiled. "Maggie, people like me. Honey, I'm just a lady who remembers what it felt like to be cold and forgotten." Maggie as a young woman, holding her baby daughter during a blizzard in 73. Power out. No food. Neighbors too far away. A stranger knocked on her door with a sack of potatoes and a thermos of soup. She never forgot that face. Never forgot that warmth. That night they slept on every available surface. On the floor, on the sofa, in the spare bedroom. Even Whiskers curled up beside 2 of them. And Maggie, she sat in her rocker all night, watching them, listening, praying. Dawn breaks. Pale gold light filters through icy windows. Snow falls softly. Inside, the house is silent. The riders are gone. Only empty mugs and folded blankets remain. Then, distant, growing louder, revving engines. At 6:47 a.m., the first bike rolled up, a black Harley-Davidson, painted with a faded image of a rose, and the words, "For those who saved us." Then another, and another, and another. By 7 a.m., there were 27 bikes lined up along the driveway. By 7:30, by 800, a sea of motorcycles gleaming in the morning sun, each one adorned with handmade signs. "Thank you, Maggie, you gave us back our humanity. We're not monsters, we're just lost." From the road, with love, a group of riders step forward. They carry a large wooden plaque. It's hand-carved with flowers, a heart, and a single word, "Maggie." Rico walks up to the front porch. He's clean-shaven now, wearing clean clothes. Behind him, the other 99 riders stand in perfect silence. "Ma'am, last night, you gave us more than warmth. You gave us dignity. You looked us in the eye, and didn't flinch." He holds out the plaque. "Rico, we didn't come here to thank you with money. We came to thank you with something we can't buy, with our presence, with our hearts." He drops to one knee, not in submission, in reverence. "Rico, we're not your family by blood, but you made us feel like we belong. So, if you'll have us, we're yours, All of us, for as long as you'll let us be. Maggie's hands shake. Tears stream down her cheeks. She doesn't say a word. She just opens her arms. Rico stands, and then he steps forward and hugs her, tight, like she's his mother, his grandmother, his home. One by one, all 100 riders file forward. Each one embraces her. Some cry, others bow their heads. A few kiss her forehead. A woman in the crowd, a biker in her 60s with silver hair and a patch that reads Grandma's Angels, steps forward. She holds a small envelope. Woman, this isn't much, just $472. Every dime we had between us, from tips, from odd jobs, from selling our extra gear. We pooled it to fix your roof, your furnace, your damn leaky faucet. We heard it dripping last night. Maggie looks at the envelope, looks at the faces, looks at the sea of bikes. Maggie, we won. I didn't do anything special. Rico, wait, yes, ma'am. You did. The next week, news crews arrive, local reporters, national outlets, CNN, CBS, NPR. Everyone wants to know, who is Maggie Holloway? But Maggie refuses interviews. She won't go on TV. She doesn't want fame. She just wants to bake cookies. Instead, the bikers do something extraordinary. Montage begins. A local contractor shows up with a team, repairs Maggie's roof, installs new insulation, adds a ramp to the front porch. A mechanic replaces her ancient furnace with a state-of-the-art heating system. A baker delivers 50 loaves of bread every Friday. A nurse comes weekly to check her vitals. A tattoo artist arrives with a needle and ink. He offers to give Maggie a tattoo for free. She smiles. Just put "thank you" on my shoulder. He does, and then he adds a tiny rose beside it. Later, a video goes viral. One rider posts a raw, unedited clip of himself sitting alone on his bike, sobbing after leaving Maggie's house. Video clip audio only. I haven't cried since my mom died. I thought I was numb. But yesterday, I remembered what it feels like to be loved. Not because of what I ride, but because of who I am. The video gets 20 million views in 48 hours. Maggie sits in her rocking chair. The fireplace crackles. Whiskers purrs in her lap. A dozen bikes sit parked neatly outside. A sign on the gate now reads, Maggie's Haven, open to all who need warmth. A young girl, maybe 8, knocks on the door. She's holding a drawing, a stick figure woman with a halo, a line of motorcycles, and a big red heart. Little girl, my daddy said you saved his life. Can I stay for cookies? Maggie pulls her close, kisses her forehead. Maggie wajowed, honey, you're already home. 1 year later, the farmhouse has been transformed. A small community center now stands beside it, built by the bikers, named Maggie's Hearth. Free meals every Sunday, a warming center for the homeless, a library of donated books, a room full of donated bikes repaired and given to veterans and teens in need. A mural on the wall, 100 silhouettes of riders surrounding one small woman, smiling. Maggie sits in a wheelchair now. Arthritis, age, but her spirit, brighter than ever. The same 100 riders gather around her. Now they call themselves the Holloway Guard. They meet every month, bring her flowers, read to her, take her to the diner, walk her dog. Maggie is handed a letter, handwritten, from a man she doesn't recognize. Dear Maggie, I'm writing from a cell in Ohio State Penitentiary. I was locked up when I heard about you. I used to be one of them, the ones who rode past houses like yours and laughed. I thought kindness was weakness. Then I saw your face. I wrote to them, asked if they'd tell you I'm sorry. I'm trying to change. I started volunteering at the youth center, teaching kids to fix bikes. I told them about you, how you opened your door, even when you didn't know us. That's what love looks like, Maggie. Thank you for teaching me. Danny, cell 14B. Maggie reads the letter, closes her eyes. A single tear falls. They called her a hero, but Maggie never believed that. She just believed in one thing. Kindness costs nothing, but changes everything. The barn behind the house glows amber. A banner hangs from the rafters. 100 bikes, one heart. Margaret Holloway passed away peacefully in her sleep on December 21st. She was 79. On the day of her funeral, 1,200 bikers lined the streets, silent, headed down, hats off. They carried her casket all the way to the cemetery, and when they left their keys, one key per rider, taped to her porch, with a note, for whoever needs a place to rest. Her house, still open, still warm, still waiting. They say the world is cold, But sometimes, all it takes is one old lady with a warm oven, an open door, and a heart big enough to hold 100 broken souls. If you see someone lost, invite them in. You never know, they might just save your soul too. Subscribe for more stories that restore faith in humanity. Share this if you believe kindness still exists. Thanks for watching.